Say that it was good to get back on the practice field. You know, we're not doing a lot of practicing this week, more walkthroughs as much as anything, but that part is good. Realize the game is coming up quickly. Really excited about, having a chance. Not many times you get a chance to play against an undefeated NFL team this late in the season. So, take your question.
Are you guys going to trade Brandon Cooks?
Are we what now?
Are you guys going to trade Brandon Cooks?
What kind of question is that? Are we going to trade? If there's somebody we're going to trade and we trade them, we can't talk about it then. Brandon wasn't out there today. He's excused for personal reasons.
Brandon Cooks has been out of practice today.
I'm sorry?
Brandon Cooks not there at practice today. He was, he's been addressing trade rumors on his own personal account. I mean, what kind of communication do you have with him the past couple of days?
The same type I have with everybody else. Talked to Brandon today. Guys, when I say a guy is excused for personal reasons, and I never talk about what something personally we're talking about behind closed doors, like all players. Had conversation with most of the guys each day. Brandon is no different.
Have you received offers for Brandon Cooks?
Have I received offers?
After the Texans?
No, none that. Guys, you understand that if we did, we're not going to talk about that in here. I think most of y'all know that. No, I don't. I mean, you know that I can't and wouldn't answer that question. Or the trade deadline is coming, correct? So all teams are talking right now. And when there's some information that we think that you need to get, we'll get it to you. What I'm up here for today is talking about, you guys watched practice out there today. I thought you wanted to talk about that.
Hey, Lovie, on the topic itself, we're talking about players.
What topic is that now?
We're talking about Brandon. We're talking about player values, Brandon. When people do look at him as a commodity, how much for you all do you have to feel like you're receiving something fair when you're talking about a deal? It's got to be a good deal when you talk about players sometimes.
Well, I don't talk about it. Brandon Cooks. You want to talk about Brandon or generally? Just players in general. They're not a football team. They have a role. Brandon has a big role for us. He's one of the best players on our team. Kind of as simple as that. It's the reason why he's on the team. We like him here.
Do you feel that some of his role in the offense has played into some of the conversation around him, whether he's available, if he had been more involved?
I can't speak for Brandon on that. We have a game plan. We try to get as many of the guys as possible in it. Kind of simple as that.
When you look at the Eagles' defense, they got a chance. They added an additional player.
Eagles?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about the Eagles? Keep going. Keep going.
We talk about the Eagles' defense. As good as they were, they also added another player that they got from Chicago, a defensive player from Chicago. When you have to game plan for a team like that, how hard is it coming from an offensive standpoint to game plan for them?
I think it's tough, but before adding another good defensive player, there's a lot to game plan against. When you're an undefeated team, as I said, this late in the season, additional guys that you get just make it that much harder, but excellent football team in just about every area, even without, adding a great defensive end, too, that's been a great player in our league for a long time.
In the offseason, Brandon got a 2-year extension, and it seemed like he was part of the future of the team in that way. In the time since, what's kind of changed? And if something doesn't happen today, how would you handle him back in the locker room?
I just don't live in that world of hypotheticals, what ifs. Do we like Brandon? Yes, that's obvious. And any more than that, and Brandon is a part of our football team. So what else is there to say about it? To start searching about what could possibly happen later on, years from now, whatever, that's just not a part of where we are right now. Guys, believe it or not, we're playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week, and our attention is to that. Get a game plan, ready to go for that. Any other agenda is not what I'm up here for right now.
You do understand why we're asking, though, like that?
Yeah, I understand. You understand that I'm not going to address all those, too, right? You do understand that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we see each other.
Coach, with about 10 games left into the season, as a leader of the team, how do you go about keeping the positivity around this organization?
How many games? Well, it's just that. There's a lot of football left to go. And I say, probably more teams are maybe disappointed in their record right now, as opposed to really, besides the Eagles and a few more, most of us are, searching for momentum, good things that happen. That's why we're excited there's that many games to go. That's where we are. So how do we keep them up? They're excited. We have a Bell Red game coming up. National TV audience against the undefeated team. That's enough to get everybody on our football team really pumped up.
A couple more against the Eagles. They have a really good secondary. So obviously this year Brandon is averaging like his second lowest amount of yards per game. How can you guys, if he's still here, be able to get him the ball, get him more involved, so his production can go back up? Because I'll help you guys win.
Well, this is what we're going to try to do. You're right. You talk about the production. We need production from our running game. That'll help the passing game, and any receivers that we throw the ball to after that. We have a lot of different options. Brandon being one of them. How's that?
Jalen Hurts, he is a dual threat quarterback, but he doesn't look to make a lot of plays with his legs. So once he gets out of the pocket, he's still, looking downfield to make those plays. When you have that defensive line, how hard is it to keep him contained or to keep him in the pocket and don't allow him to get out of it?
Well, it's hard. He's maybe the most improved ball player in the league this year. But what he can do. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that can throw it, but he brings so many more things to the table. Keeping him in the pocket, I think the odds are better keeping him in the pocket, but in the past, that's what we've all said. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Just know right now he's been pretty accurate in and out of the pocket. Yeah, if he gets on the perimeter, that's tougher duty. But he's been tough with what they've been doing. I think their offensive scheme is kind of tailored to him also. Similar things he was able to do in college, but the RPO game with him running it has been pretty special.
Think it's any added motivation for him playing at home?
Oh, I definitely think guys are really excited about, to have a chance to come back where your hometown, around it, close to home. That is always special. I say every player that you talk to would say that. And, we're not in the homecomings, though. We don't want him to have a great homecoming coming back.
That's a young quarterback like Davis. What's it take to get him to be consistent as you try to get him playing some of the things he did against Vegas, and then 1 week later, you have a difference?
I don't know if anybody has figured that out completely. I think that's what you go through with all young quarterbacks, inconsistency. It's hard. Once you cross that, eventually, though, what I've seen is the good ones cross that plane. But first, you need to be able to get some good games, and then you start trying to string more of those together. I think we're on that path. Can't wait, of course, but there's so much more goes into a quarterback having a consistent game. I'm talking about, running game going, defense playing better. There's just so many other things that we need to do as a football team before we can really say exactly what Davis has been able to do, how consistent he's been from week to week. It was tough going against that last team that we played.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandon Cook's speculation, trade speculation.
Yeah, hasn't been here. He's out for personal reasons right now. That's all I know. He's a great player. Any speculation, that's probably a question better for Coach Lovie or Nick. But all I got, he's a great player. I love playing with him.
You spent the offseason with him in Oregon. You got close there up to the season now. Have you noticed any sense of change between just where things were dynamically for him in the offense, how he felt about being a part of this?
No, when he's here, he's fully bought into what we're trying to do and go out there and win games.
Is from week to week, what do you try to be consistent as a young quarterback? And obviously, some of that is growing into the role. What are some things that you try to improve personally?
Yeah, big thing we always talk about, especially in preparation, is trying to create a routine, kind of have a checklist of things you need to do to prepare any given week. Make sure you watch all the film, check all the boxes to know you're prepared for the game week. It's a little different going into a Thursday game, having a short week. You kind of just have to cram a little more, but, I mean, the way we knock everything out, we still have a lot of time for it. Some concepts will carry over. Some of the things we didn't use in the previous weeks that we've been repping for a while, you can fall back on those and some of your base install plays to have confidence in that regard, just so we can go out there and communicate and play fast. But I think it's kind of difficult for all teams on a short week to go in and install too much or too many complex things. But I mean, we'll be ready for it, and we're excited. But yeah, big thing, just setting up that routine to make sure you're prepared any given week.
Davis, coming off of your best game of the season against Vegas and the performance this past weekend, would you say that the absence of Nico Collins really changed what you guys were able to do offensively drastically? Would you attribute that absence to maybe what you weren't able to do offensively?
I wouldn't say it was a drastic change in what we're trying to do scheme-wise. Obviously, we needed to replace Nico, and we did that kind of by moving guys around and switching in personnel groupings. But overall scheme-wise, I don't think him being out changed what we were trying to do. We just didn't execute the way we wanted to. Kind of played behind the chains. A lot of what we did in that Vegas game, we were moving the ball early, first and second down, getting us into third manageable, and we were able to run plays that we had schemed up for that week. And this past game kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little too much, and we're playing from behind the chains, and it's just, in this league, it's tough because it's not very forgiving at all. So when you can't be efficient early on, I mean, it's tough to go out there and score a lot of points. So we're trying to switch that up this week, be consistent on offense, be efficient, and move the ball down the field.
That last drive, 95 yards, y'all moved down, and Brandon being a part of that too. What things can be a part of early in the game? Is it the defense playing you differently there? I mean, how can y'all attribute that to, maybe getting started earlier?
Yeah, I mean, even the last play of the last drive of the game, we had to convert a 4th and 6. So we're still using all 4 of the downs, and it was still a struggle to move down the field at that point. Obviously, they're a very talented defense we played last week. Obviously, I got that game circled for later in the year to maybe change up some things and change the outcome. But, yeah, I felt at the end of the game we were able to be efficient. I extended some plays with my legs and found some guys downfield. Kind of that 2-minute mode. Don't have to think much. You're able to just go out there and play free and try to make a play, and that's what we did. So I wish we could have done that a little sooner in the game.
After studying the Philadelphia Eagles defense, how hard is it going to be to prepare for a defense that has such a talented front seven, but they also have good defensive backs as well?
Yeah, I mean, a ton of talent scattered all over the field. Preparation, I mean, doesn't change. Their scheme isn't super difficult. They will mix in a couple blitz packages that are tough to see if they're trying to bring in some cover zeros, but we've already kind of made some adjustments on if we're going to be able to see those, how we're going to adjust to it, what we're going to do to combat that. But other than that, I mean, it's any other week. We're focused on what we need to do in preparation, go out there and play fast on Thursday.
After watching the film on Sunday, where are some of the areas you feel like you need to improve on?
Same thing, just being efficient, staying above the chains or out in front of the chains, not putting ourselves in third and long situations. That kind of kills drives.
2 more. Davis, can you talk about the difference between the offensive system last year and this year? Obviously, folks had 390 catches last year. Have you felt like that continuity's materialized for you guys this year in this system?
Somewhat. I mean, big thing last year that we've kind of gotten rolling better this year is just the run game. Last year, we were playing from behind a lot, and it kind of forced us into those passing situations. So a lot of guys had a lot of catches. Whereas this year, we're still trying to emphasize the run game. We know we can do it. We got a really talented guys in the backfield who are running the ball, and we have a really talented offensive line who are gritty and moving people out of the way to get downhill on runs. So still emphasizing that, but the play-action game will come off that, so we'll get chunks, but it's not going to be spreading the ball around the whole game like we had to do at some points last year.
When the run game wasn't working on Sunday, it seemed like that complicated everything. I mean, we've talked in the past about how much the run game helps out the pass. How do you see this offense performing whenever that's not there? I mean, is there other options that you are trying to find, and how can it work when the run game's not working?
Definitely. I mean, we even talked about it this week. I don't want to share too much, but just finding ways to, if we can't run the ball, take easy completions and kind of utilize, okay, hey, an efficient run on first down is 4 yards. So if we can do that, getting the ball out onto the edge, I mean, for the offense, it's the same thing. Just moving forward, kind of second and short, third and short, and keeping the chains moving. So just finding ways to keep moving the ball down the field and scoring points. That's what we're focused on.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.